things. Everything that you just described is the narrative that's going on in your mind, forged by the mind. And it's all in a place of worry, concern, and force. And you're
Yeah.
attached to how much shadow work you've done. You're attached to how. You're only allowing yourself to see two options to make money, a 9 to 5 or tarot card readings. When we come into this reality, our mind is split in two. We have the mind that is our physical mind, and we have our higher mind, our higher self, right? And our physical mind is only meant to process what is happening, not how it's going to happen, how it's going to work out, why it worked out this way, none of that. And then the higher mind, who is essentially standing at the top of the mountain and that sees you walking your path, knows the journey ahead of you, and is self correcting, instantaneously self correcting. So let's say that you had an idea that you were supposed to go to a 9 to 5 job. You are convincing yourself that the 9 to 5 job is the way to go. The higher mind might put resistance and obstacles in your way to try and tell you that I know that's what you think you need. And I know that's what you think you want because your physical mind tells you that's what's logical, but I have something better for you. And it's not bullshit. It's not this woo woo thing. So hear me out here. Okay. So the higher mind at the top of the mountain in this metaphor, you see a clear path, either with tarot reading or with the 9 to 5. It looks clear from what your physical mind can see. But at the top of the mountain, the higher mind can see that it's actually a drop down cliff between one end of the path and the beginning of the next path. But because you're not at the top of the mountain, you're the one walking the journey. You can't see that 200 yards ahead of you or 200 feet ahead of you that it's actually going to drop down. And so that's when we get attached, especially when things aren't working out the way that we thought it was, or the way that we thought it was, the way that we thought our plan was going to work, or the way that we thought it was supposed to be, or the way that we think it's supposed to happen, or the way that we think is the most stable, or the most logical, or the most safe. If those things don't, it's when we limit ourselves by these definitions, by these stories, that then we create our own resistance. It challenges us in our feelings of safety because in the known, see, that's why you're gravitating towards the 9 to 5, or that's why you're gravitating towards the tarot card readings, because that's what you know works. That logically to you, you know that makes sense. But the way that when we experience a miracle, right? If you've had, or when you've had a miracle happen in your life, hasn't it pretty much always come to you in an unknown way?
Yeah.
It's always been a
In
huge surprise.
eyes, yeah.
So, the way that you are going to make money, the way that money is going to come to you is by you allowing it to come to you, not by trying to figure out how to get it. Because it's not about what you're doing, because you can be doing tarot card readings or you could be doing your 9 to 5. But as you know, the universe responds to vibration. So it's not what you're doing, it's who you're being while you do it. Because, like, let's say, for example, you're doing your wealth affirmations, and I know because I have done this. Okay. You could be sitting there and saying, I am abundant because I have a roof over my head. I am healthy. I have money comes to me easily. I love people and I use money. Money comes to me as easily as breathing. And you're even doing those subliminal ones on YouTube and all that stuff. But it's not about what you're doing. It's not about the affirmations. It's about who you're being while you do it. The question is, why are you doing those affirmations? Why are you listening to those subliminals? It's because you feel lack and you're trying to fix it. And so then what are you actually vibrating?
Lower.
Yeah, lack. You're vibrating lack of money. You're vibrating desperation. And desperation is repelling. It's repelling. It creates this push it further away. The version of you that is Garish, if that version of you was a millionaire, would you need to be doing affirmations and subliminals in order to get and receive money?
I will be already that person. Like feel the billionaire,
Yeah.
feeling the.
But my question is would you need to intentionally, so if you were a millionaire, would you need to sit there and say, I know what it feels like to be a millionaire. This is what a millionaire feels like. This is blah, 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 blah. Would you need to do that? Or would you already know it?
I know it.
Exactly. And so here's that distinction. Here's that fine line. And the mistake I made for years is that and this is what the spiritual community shares and says to do, be intentional, feel it, do your affirmations. But that's because you're trying to conjure up the feeling. But that is coming from the space of not having it. And so, therefore, what you're creating more of is not having it. It needs to be a knowingness. And you could look around at your surroundings and be like, well, I can see that I'm not, right? And that is what can be challenging. Figuring out how to, I don't want to say how to anchor that in because, again, that's coming in from a space of lack, but honoring the ways that you're already abundant. See, it's not even about that. It's not even about finding the ways you're already abundant. It's about the fact that you're honoring right now that you have everything that you need. Maybe you don't have everything that you want. You may not have everything that you want, but you do have everything that you need. You have a roof over your head. You have air to breathe. You are safe right now. Nobody's threatening your life. You have even if you don't have a bed to sleep on, you still have a floor.
Mhm.
And I know that the smoking cigarettes was a big thing for you, right? You wanted to release that, right? But do you pretty much always have cigarettes when you need them?
Yeah, exactly the count.
Yeah. So
So
you
the
have
yeah.
everything that you need. And once you start acknowledging, I promise you, but the thing is truth doesn't matter unless truth is
Mhm.
seen within. My truth,
Mhm.
or the truth of the universe even, doesn't matter
Mhm.
until it's seen within, experienced
Mhm.
within.
Mhm.
Once you acknowledge that you have everything that you need,
Mhm.
you will start receiving more.
Mhm.